Alright. Thank you for watching. I've gotten a lot of Quran reading done since December when I last made videos like this for my series Changes or Differences in Stories in the Quran and the Bible that are about the same people and should be the same. We're on to, in the Quran, Moses knows about the burning bush when he is with his family. So he's with his family and he says, I'm going to go find out what that burning is. And putting his hand in his robe and having a leprosy on his hand was a plague for the Egyptians. Alright, in the Bible, Moses finds the burning bush when he is out tending sheep, not with his family somewhere, and sees it far away. And the leprosy was not a plague that struck the Egyptians. The Bible says it would be a sign for the Egyptians, but it doesn't say he actually did it after he got there, but not one of the plagues. Solomon had an army of jinn and birds. Solomon spoke the language of birds. He spoke with ants. Wow, that's a frightening army. A lot of birds. This is Surah 27, Ayah 15 through 19. So, well, there's a lot of stuff to be said about these. There are no such thing as jinn. In the Bible, there are no jinn. The closest equivalent there is are spirits. Evil spirits, but the evil spirits that are in the Bible do not have the same powers that the jinn in the Quran have. And speaking the languages of animals never happened anywhere in the Bible. There was one ass that spoke human, and that was a miraculous occurrence because something really extraordinary was happening. But as an ordinary occurrence, nobody in the Bible speaks with animals. There is no dog whisperer or ass whisperer or bird whisperer in the Bible. And ants, can anyone even hear ants? They don't make much noise. In the Quran, Solomon has a bird take a message to the Queen of Sheba. Alright, this Queen of Sheba story. He plans to use his army to force her to follow Islam, and he uses jinn to test her. Okay, so there's a lot of things to talk about here. One, there are no such thing as jinn. He couldn't have used the jinn to test her. And in the Bible, who is testing who is the difference in this story. So in the Quran, Solomon is testing the Queen of Sheba. In the Bible, the Queen of Sheba hears about Solomon and comes to him to test him, to see if he's as wise as they say. And he did pass the test and prove that he was as wise as the rumors were. In the Bible, we don't hear about armies of Solomon or David being used to force people to become believers and followers of the true religion. Now, in the Quran, Pharaoh's wife finds baby Moses. But in the Bible, it's Pharaoh's daughter that finds baby Moses in the river and saves him and raises him. It's Ayah 28, Surah 9, Exodus chapter 2. Was it the wife? Was it the daughter? In the Quran, there is a Haman in Egypt at the time of Moses who has an important position in the government. There is a Haman in the Bible who has an important position in the government, but it's not Egyptian and it's 1,000 years later. Here's one of those things where the Bible doesn't explicitly say the opposite. So I am more than open to the idea, or willing to accept, that there was a Haman in Egypt at the time of Moses that the Bible just didn't mention. but it's worthy of noting since there is a Haman in the Bible that's in a very different time and place. Surah 28, Ayah 6. In the Quran, Moses' father-in-law, did I write 26? I wrote 26 and everything else is 28. It's probably 28. In the Quran, Moses' father-in-law has 2 daughters and they ask Moses to be hired. I wrote Surah 26, Ayah 22, but since this is surrounded by things happening in Surah 28, I probably made a slight error and wrote the wrong number. Alright, in the Bible, Moses' father-in-law had 7 daughters. 7, or if you're doing American Sign Language, 7, not 2. Okay, that's Exodus 2 where we learn that fact. In the Quran, Moses works for his father-in-law to earn his wife, or he works for his wife. In other words, Surah 28, Ayah 27. In the Bible, there is no record of Moses working for his wife. He works for his father-in-law in the Bible, it says, but it does not say that was a condition of him marrying his wife. There is somebody in the Bible who worked for his wife for 7 years, and then worked for his wife's sister as a wife for 7 years. This guy, his father-in-law, had 2 daughters. It's not Moses, however, that is Jacob. Jacob wanted to marry Rachel. He ended up married to Leah, who had beautiful eyes. At least she wasn't all ugly. Maybe she wasn't ugly at all, but Jacob was more attracted or interested in Rachel. And the Bible notes that Leah had beautiful eyes. But the family would not let the younger daughter be married before the older daughter. On Jacob's wedding night, they got him drunk, got him to be married to Leah. And then he realized it the next morning, and they explained it to him, and then he worked for 7 more years, but didn't have to wait the 7 years to marry Rachel. So those are the facts. You do with those facts what you want. In the Quran, Moses has left his father-in-law when he finds a burning bush, and he sees a fire from afar. Like left, not just, I'm going out for a day jog, going for a little walk, I'll be back later, but like left, like we're moving away. That's Surah 28, Ayah 29. In the Bible, Moses was working for his father-in-law and had not left when he has the experience at the burning bush. That's Exodus 3 where we can read about that. In the Quran, at the burning bush, Moses runs away from his staff when one translation I read said it turned into a snake. The other translation said it shook like a jinn. He runs and doesn't come back. In the Bible, at the burning bush, Moses does initially run away from his staff when it turns into a snake, but he comes back to it and picks it up. When he picks it up, it becomes a staff again and not a snake. That was Surah 28, Ayah 31. Exodus chapter 4, verse 4. In the Quran, Moses brings up the idea of having Aaron be his spokesman or helper. Surah 28, Ayah 34. In the Bible, God is the one who has the idea. After Moses drags his feet and hems and haws and says, I don't think the Israelites will believe I'm a prophet. I don't know if they'll follow me. I'm not really good at talking. Then God says, you're going to do this for me, and your brother Aaron, the Levite, you can take him. He will be your spokesman. That was Exodus 4, chapter 14. Chapter 4, verse 14. I'm sorry. In the Quran, Pharaoh's reaction to Moses is Haman building a tower so he can talk to God. Surah 28, Ayah 38. So, in the Bible, Pharaoh's reaction to Moses is never wanting to build a tower and or talking to God. action is to say, no, you can't go. Yes, you can go. No, I changed my mind. No, you can't go. In the Bible, Pharaoh builds no towers. There was a character in the tower who built a... There was a character in the Bible who built a tower for the purpose of ascending to where God lives. His name was Nimrod, and he wasn't in Egypt. So, do what you want with those facts. Thank you for watching this. And... we should all read the Quran so we know what's in it. It's a major religion with many people following it. And some of them are very violent. So we should read it so we know if the violent ones are doing what's in the book or not. As opposed to just listening to Judy Zasser or somebody else and saying, well, Judy Zasser says it. Well, read the book for yourself. One thing I plan to do as a project for YouTube is read directly from an Islamic book. Kind of like how David Michael read from the Book of Mormon in my Book of Mormon podcast. Before he quit that podcast and it became a completely different thing. So I'm going to put a link in the description to go to a video where in that video I want people to comment in the comments section which book I should read next. Directly from the book, an Islamic book, so people can find out what is Islam, what does the religion teach and believe in its books. Thank you. You have a good day.